folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're going to be taking a look at 5 different games here. I'll be giving them short reviews. Command of Nature, Thingstead, Codicus, Bunny Boom, and Foros. Are they good? Are they bad? Well, let's find out. Foros is a beautiful abstract strategy game that is Connect 4, but 3 dimensions. Yeah, we've seen this before. But also, there's puzzles. Well, we've seen that before, too. Is there something different? Let's look.
So there are 3 ways to play this game. They're all going to be the same way, where you're going to take pieces and you are trying to get 4 in a row. Although on this one, you can get 4 in a row in multiple ways. So, I'm going to get 4 in a row horizontally. No, they were paying attention. I can get 4 in a row vertically. No, still kind of paying attention. And so you could even go diagonally 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So that's one way to play. On the other side, you can play classic. This is essentially, it's called the wall. It's Connect 4. So you're trying to get 4 in a row. And there's a circular version, which is essentially the same thing, except it wraps, obviously, so you can come around. And it's just a little trickier for you to figure out where things go. Everything fits in very nicely. And then after that, there are some extra things. So there are 3D puzzles where they show you the top, the bottom, and side of something. You can build it. There are tower puzzles where it tells you what you can see from different sides, and you're building towers to make that work out. And then there's games and activities for kids. So there's a bunch of extra stuff in here, and that's the game.
Foros is it's hard to, this one's a hard one for me to rate. I mean, I'll tell you right now, my rating is a 6 because I didn't dislike playing it. I like playing Connect 4, fine. I like playing 4-way Connect 4. I like the puzzles in here. But I don't feel like I need to own this product. It feels like there's other stuff out there that does similar things to it. It's interesting. It says learn to play in 10 seconds. Sure, because everyone's already played it. The other stuff, the puzzles, they're interesting, but there's not many of each. So it's kind of a product you give your kid. They're going to do the different puzzles in here, and then they're going to play Connect 4. But here's putting these blocks up. That's neat. But Connect 4 has checkers that drop down. It's kind of hard to want to play this instead. Yes, you have the blocks, and they're very good quality, but I don't know that I would put much more beyond that. So if you want Connect 4 in different directions and some puzzles, then it's a worthwhile product. Maybe this is one you could buy for a kid who would enjoy it. For me, though, it's fine, but I'll forget about it. 6 out of 10. Bunny Boom is a game that I was just intrigued with because of the cover. This is Andrew Bosley's artwork on it, and it's absolutely, just funny. The bunnies are booming. The author said they read about, basically a rabbit boom. They thought it'd make a fun game. There's too many bunnies. I don't want them. And so that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get other people in the game, the other villagers, to have more bunnies than you. So that sounds fun. Let's take a look.
In this game, your goal is to not get bunnies. Denominations 1, 5, 10, and 25. You want to have as few as possible. And the game's going to be pretty simple. On your turn, you are playing a rabbit card. And there are lots of different rabbit cards that you will have. And you'll place it adjacent to a card that's already out there. If you're playing a 2-player game, you're just going right and left. 3-player adds up and down. 4-player will add in all directions. You can build it. So when you play the card, you are going to do whatever it says when you play the card here. And when you will then, after that, you're going to move your pawn there, whatever color you happen to be. As you move, every card that you move over, you'll activate what it says here. So for example, this one just gives you a rabbit. And there are lots of different symbols in the game where you are going to be taking a carrot token, which gives them 4 bunnies at the end of the game, skipping movement, adding bunnies. Sometimes they activate river, which means you'll look at all the cards up here, and if they have a river effect, you will activate them. This, by the way, is where you'll draw cards for after you're done playing one. And that's basically it. Once all the spots are filled, you are going to play again, but this time, as you play cards out in the middle, if it's the same type of weather as the card underneath it, you're essentially shutting that card down, and slowly everything shuts down, and at that point, you find out who has the most rabbits. That's pretty much it. There's a few minor expansions, a fox, a burrow, and things that you can add in. But you're playing a card, moving your person, trying not to move them too far because we'll give you probably a lot of negative effects you don't want, and trying not to get too many rabbits.
Woof. Woof, woof, woof. There are some times where when I play a game, I go, not for me. But there are other times when I play a game and I go, this is just not a good game at all. Bunny Boom for me is a 3 out of 10. And I think 2 of those points, well, are from Andrew Bosley's artwork. It's just terrible. First of all, there's one reference card that doesn't even have all the symbols on it. And the symbols, there's so many symbols in this game, and no one knows what they do all the time. And then you're like, there's this expansion, that are just basically more symbols. So you're constantly looking up symbols to just basically be a take that game. You play a card your turn, you do whatever it says, you move your person there, you're trying not to move very far, then you put cards on top of each other, and then there's up and down with 3 or 4 players. That doesn't really mean anything. The whole thing, it just feels meaningless. I got some rabbits, you got some rabbits. But that might work in a quick, short, silly, stupid game, which this is. But then when you saddle this confusing icons on top of it, what a waste of this artwork. What a waste of Andrew Bosley. It's 45 minutes. It's too long. And then you're trying to match symbols to make a card where no one can go there again. And then when you pass over, you land a river card, you do the river things. And just is constantly like, what does that symbol do? You get the carrot. What does the carrot do? And then when you add in these little mini expansions, there's even more. Just not worth the time, which is unfortunate. This looked really fun, but I cannot recommend Bunny Boom at all. Okay, taking a look now at Command of Nature. Now, this is a very pretty game here. This is Glory Awaits the Master of the Elements. You will recognize this is from Unstable Games, who make some good and some bad, but you always notice their games because they're using that T-Turtle art, which is famous. You go to conventions, you'll see people wearing these shirts. I see them all over the place. People love this art, and for good reason. It's good art. This is a head-to-head game of building pyramids, which got me interested because one of my favorite CCGs has this in it. And I like the idea of building a pyramid and trying to kill your opponent's leader. That's a fun aspect. Let's check it out.
In this game, you're going to control one of 4 different factions. You can see here we have the Droplet faction, and they come with a bunch of starting cards. And you're going to build a formation like this. So here we have Cedar, the Twin Sage, and my Sage is in the back here. And you have some basic elementals and some warriors, and you also have some champions that will come out when you reach various levels. The goal is to go up in levels as you attack the other person. You're going to have a deck of cards with your some leftover creatures, and then these basic commands. And each turn of the game, you're going to have a handful of 5 cards of these. You're going to be spending actions points on your turn to do various things. Most of the time, you'll be spending, for example, do damage equal to an attacking elemental strike to an elemental in your opponent's row 1. So you attack your opponent. As elementals die, other ones have to move up into those spots, but you can fill more in. And that's because in this game, you're going to be getting currency, gold coins, to buy more special cards. Like here's a pretty powerful attack or a command card. Or you can even buy more elementals to stick in your deck, better warriors. And there is an entire deck full of both warriors and full of all sorts of commands and things to attack the other person. You have cards that will go off every turn. So for example, this Sage here collects 3 gold at the beginning of every turn. It shows some various, there's this one here, add a boost to an elemental in your row 1, which will make that elemental more powerful. And you have tokens that will cover those various things. I'm not going to get more into all the little details, but that's basically how it works. If you take your opponent's Sage out, you can see this one has 12 hit points, then you win the game.
Command of Nature, unfortunately, I don't really love it. I like the concept of it a lot. You're buying cards that let you do attacks. You're buying different creatures to put in your deck, and then you're putting them out, and when someone dies in the pyramid, someone else moves up. But what kind of cripples Command of Nature, makes me not love it as much as I should, making me give it a 5 out of 10, is the fact that it's just too grindy. This whole I hit you, you hit me, that person's out, trying to get to your opponent. And if you get one of the few cards in the game that kind of let you just strike directly at your opponent's leader, those feel uber powerful and a must buy when you see them come up in the line. But it's kind of like I take a little turn, I take a little turn. The box says 30 minutes, but there's no way that this is a 30-minute game. It's longer, and this kind of game shouldn't feel that way. For an example, this game done right, Summoner Wars is punchy, a fast two-player game back and forth. So there's, again, I'm not disliking everything about this game. The art's fantastic. The idea seems sound, but there's not a lot of strong strategy. I have a guy who can attack in front of him, so he attacks the thing in front of him. That's the card I drew. And you kind of are trying to make a deck with these cards and that you can play and do various things and collect money to buy better cards. That all sounds good in theory, but in the actual playing of it, it just was more drudgery than anything else. And a game looking this cool shouldn't have the word drudgery attached to it in any sense of the way. So while I think it's a fun little idea, the game itself wasn't particularly fun, so Command of Nature is a pass for me. Thingstead is a game here from Scott Alms and Salt and Pepper Games where you are trying to control different leaders in the middle. It uses some mechanisms, and Scott Alms, if there's one thing he's going to do in a game, he's going to put in some strong mechanisms. Whether you like them or not, he's going to say this is how you work it. And this is no exception with a spinning circle of elders. Let me show you.
In this game, players are trying to control these elders around you. You control 3 of them, you win the game. What you're going to do on your turn is players are going to play a movement card from their hand. And on the card, it's going to show you how far you can move, clockwise or counterclockwise. Wherever you put the card, you'll notice that this clan is from the red clan, this card that you're playing. So you need to put it in front of a leader that has that same one. So this one has red in front of it. You're then going to move this ring. You're going to move your piece there. So let's say I'm red, 1, 2, 3. You then rotate the ring so that it's going to face where your opponent piece is, which will be the -2 spot. And so you want to pretty much be away from your opponent. Then this shows how many followers you're going to place on each one. So on this card, it shows 3 1s, so 1 plus 1. I can place 2 on this one, 1 plus 1, 2 on this one, and 1 plus nothing, 1 on this one. Unfortunately, I only have 3 here. So I'm going to have to do other actions to get more of my followers. Now, when you're adding to a spot, let's say I add 3 to this card here. I add 3. If the blue player adds 2, rather than adding 2, they just take away 2 of the red ones. But if you ever reach the number that's on the card, then you've locked them. They're yours. We turn it over, and you have that one. First person to get 3 of those wins. You can also play cards at these spots here, and you just play them face down for control of these spots at the end of the game. You'll move this token towards you, and now you have this special ability. You also get more followers. The first card you play at each spot gives you 4, then 3, then 2, etc. Sometimes you can get one of these cards and put it in front of you, and now that would be a permanent special ability that you have. Like, for example, this one here, you may move your pawn 1 extra space. At the end of your turn, you'll draw another card into your hand, and that's pretty much the game. You'll keep going until the draw deck runs out, in which case whoever has more elders wins, or when someone manages to lock 3 of them, they win the game.
Thingstead is a lot of work for little payoff. This is a 5 out of 10 for me because I just don't enjoy the game. I get it. The idea of playing people to get more workers or to put those workers out comes from the king, the original of area control games, El Grande. But and then also controlling those little house in the middle and having a power that's yours, or putting enough there that it is now mine permanently. That's nice. The problem is that circle thing isn't very interesting. The part in the middle where I play the card out there and then I rotate it to where your person is, which I know where you are. So I know where it's going to rotate to and know how things are going to be. And then I'm kind of at the mercy of my cards. I'm like, okay, this lets me move there. And then I get this many on this person. Hey, this one worked out. This time it didn't. Yes, the special powers can kind of let me mitigate that as time goes by. But moving around that circle feels like a little bit of a math problem for not a lot of fun. And also, what is going on in this game? Am I spinning in circles in the middle here with the Elder? The theme doesn't really make any sense. This is one of those games that feels straight mechanical. Like, I don't feel like there's anything here where, like, wow, that was, I understand that theme-wise. And that's not necessarily bad, but it's glaringly obvious here and then just not that exciting. I appreciate that the game is head-to-head and that they went with that and not tried to make it 3 or 4 players. But a 2-player game shouldn't feel a little chaotic based on where the other person goes. You're like, oh, you went there. I can't really read where you're going to go. And yes, there's a little bit back and forth on who controls things. But when a game of Thingstead is over, I'm like, whew. I'm a kind of a sigh of relief. And that is not what you should feel at the end of a game. So I can't really recommend this one, Thingstead. Codicus is a little deduction game from Mexico. In fact, it's not out in English at this point. Or at least I've seen a copy of it, but it is a 25-minute deduction game that goes to 6 players. Is such a thing possible? Let's find out. Each person's going to get their deduction sheet, and you're going to have a shield in front of you. And on your shield, someone else is going to write numbers. They have to write all different numbers, and 3 of them have to be odd, and 3 have to be even. And you can't have numbers next to each other. By the way, 0 is considered an even number. You can't have numbers next to each other that are 1 away. So I can't put 2 or 4 here, but I could put 6, and I need 1 more. Nope, because 1 can't go next to 0. So I will make this one here a 9. Now, I am trying to guess these numbers. So what's going to happen is, on my turn, you just go around a table until you think you can guess it. If you guess it, people will tell you yes or no. So let's say, for example, I want to guess my pink number, so I'll say pink 4. And you will either say yes, close, or no. In this case, it's no. Close means it's next to 8, 7, or 9. So since you say no, I said pink 4, I know that it's not 4, or 3, or 5. Later on, I might say pink 8, and then you just say yes. Well, great. So I have 8 here. I also know 8 can't be on any of the other ones. And the 2 next to it also can't be 9 or 7 because you can't have, well, I guess I can cross these all off here. You can't have close numbers next to each other. And that's basically the game. You're going to say yes, close, or not. So let's say I guessed blue 6 and you said close. Well, I'm great. Well, I know it's not this one because I've already crossed that one off. So since it's close, it must be 5. If I had said 0 over here, if I said here on the green one, let's say I said green 5 and you said close, I'm like, all right, so I know that it's 4 or 6. And you can narrow things down. So a basic, simple deduction game. Hooray, I say, because I am a fan of deduction games. And I like deep, crunchy deduction games. But not every game needs to be deep and crunchy. And sometimes you're looking for a nice, light deduction game that's easy to teach and play. And there's a few of those out there. Obviously, the biggest one, Clue, many things out there. But this one here, where you're just matching numbers, is pretty basic. I showed you most of the strategy tips in there. If people like Sudoku, they get the idea. The numbers are out there. I need to figure out what numbers in what spot. The number can't be next to another number. So 2 is never next to 3. So if I figure out this, I can cancel stuff out. And it has a little bit of a snowball effect. Am I going to want to play this game all the time? No, because I want to get into more deeper deduction. But if I know people who don't want to play a lot of, they don't want to have their brains burned, but they want to push them a little, then Codicus is pretty good in that regard. It's very simple. Everyone makes that same code, and it's 3 even, 3 odd, the same number. The numbers are only there once, and then ones can't be next to each other. But I like that idea. That's just, it's interesting. I sit there, I'm satisfied, I'm filled. It's actually 20 minutes. It could be even faster than that if you play with a few players. And then you might say, let's try it again. And that works well. Simple fact, it's stuff on your shield. You definitely can't see it. And behind the shield, you're working on it. But you don't really need to keep it secret from other people. And then you say, did I get it or not get it? So I like this. So that's Codicus. Definitely worth checking out. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Well, there you go, folks. some games here, some games that look really good. And unfortunately, here's the thing, the one that didn't look the best out of all of them was the best. But that's what they say, don't judge a game by its cover, even though we always do, and we always will. I'm Tom Vasel. If you have other opinions on these games, why don't you let us know in the comments? We'll see you next time. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.